Good evening. Thank you for being here. Welcome to another episode of Your Healthy, Blissful Life. Tonight's guest is Nancy Ruffin. She is an award-winning writer, a mom, a wife, a motivational speaker, and a Beachbody coach. She's a founder of the Fierce Woman, a women's empowerment organization. Nancy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
You're,
wonderful.
you're welcome. I am your host, Shannon Lee, and keep in mind that we will be taking questions. I'll be moderating your comments to the side. You're welcome at any point in time to share the broadcast. You should see some buttons over to the left for Twitter and for Facebook. And if you have a question that you want us to answer, please press /Q, and you'll be able to ask us a question that we can include in the show. Now, later on, we will also invite you, if you have any questions, to dial in, and you're welcome to take part in the show. So tonight's topic is the post-baby snapback, losing the weight after childbirth. Nancy, I know that you recently had a baby.
Yes, she's actually 3 months old today.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I kind of remember those years. I have a daughter, and she will be 3 years old this month, actually. So I'm kind of missing those days
No,
when
you're not. You're not missing them at all. I barely sleep these days.
Well, mine is a toddler, so I don't know how much you'll be sleeping then either, but mine is busy, busy,
I have a
busy.
3-year-old. I have a
You have a
3-year-old.
3-year-old as
Yes.
well. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
tough. It's exciting, it's fun, but it's tiring to
Mhm.
say the least.
Yeah. See, I have 3 children, but I had all of my children 5 years apart.
Oh, good.
So,
Smart. Very smart
so
thing to
I
do.
always had a helper after the first one.
Yeah, they are pretty helpful. I mean, the 3-year-old, for being 3 years
Hmm.
old, she is very helpful. But then there are times where
Hmm.
she becomes kind of needy also. She kind of reverts back to her little baby
Oh,
state
I'm
and
sure.
wants to be babied. And that's when it gets a little difficult. But it's great.
Hmm. So basically, I really wanted to just give some information to mothers who are, whether or not they just had a baby or, they've had a baby years ago.
Right.
Just some helpful tips and some advice and some suggestions for them to lose the baby weight. I know a lot of women almost feel hopeless, especially as the time goes by. And for me, I chronicle my journey on healthyblissfulmom.com, where I talk about the fact that I basically had my first child in my 20s, my second at 32, and then my third at 37. And the first
Right.
2 pregnancies had no problems losing the weight. It wasn't even a
Right.
consideration. It wasn't a struggle. So I didn't expect anything different with my third pregnancy. But by the time, I was a little bit older, had my child, actually,
Not as
had
easy as it sounds. Yes,
had
I know.
definitely did not have a fit pregnancy. I had some issues, gestational diabetes and things like that, but still kind of, ate whatever I wanted because that's what I was accustomed to.
Right.
So once, the time went past, my daughter, I was so accustomed to really being back to my pre-pregnancy weight by the time my children were 1, maybe a little older than 1. And I was always the type of person to say, give your body time. Like your body will, unless
Snap
you're eating
back.
really, unless you're really eating really crazy and ridiculous, then it shouldn't be a problem. And I didn't understand the other side of it. So you had your baby, she's 3 months old. And so when did you actually start trying to get back to your pre-pregnancy weight?
I mean, if it was up to me, I would have started as
Mm-hmm.
soon as I got home from the hospital. But you have to give your body time to heal, and
Mm-hmm.
but what I did although I wasn't exercising, what I did start doing was I started changing my eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
So I started eating healthier. So I started to cut out white rice out of my diet. And for I'm Puerto Rican, and so I was
Mm-hmm.
raised on white rice and beans and all fried foods. So it was a struggle for me to cut out the types of foods that I had been accustomed to eating my
Mm-hmm.
entire life.
Comfort foods, I
Yeah,
call it.
so hard.
Yeah.
But what I would recommend is don't cut everything out all at once, because then you're just gonna drive yourself insane, and then you're never gonna develop the healthy habits, because what you're gonna do is you're just gonna revert back to what you're used to. But if you
Mm-hmm.
cut back, one food at a time, a little at a time, and you start developing new habits, that
Mm-hmm.
is what has helped me. Um, but to get back to when I started working out, I was 4 weeks postpartum, and even at that
Mm-hmm.
point, I was just doing very light to moderate exercises. I wasn't pushing my body too hard, because I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
want. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to end up back in the hospital for some other reason.
Right.
But I would do, light cardio. I wasn't doing any core exercises, because I was just too afraid
Mm-hmm.
of the that area. I
Yeah.
didn't want to really screw with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I waited to focus on those areas until I went back for my 6 weeks, postpartum appointment, and then I got
Mm-hmm.
cleared by the doctor. And for me, my weight has never been a problem, or it had never been a problem. I was always a very slim, skinny woman. I mean, even growing
Mm-hmm.
up, I mean, I never even kind of topped the scales over 100 pounds. I was just so slim. It's just my makeup. It's how my family really is. It's genetics. But
Mm-hmm.
as mentioned, once you get into your 30s, and then definitely past 35, your body just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't respond the way it used to, when you were in your 20s or early 30s. And so I
Right.
found that the weight I had gained during my pregnancy, wasn't going to come off. It didn't come off for my first pregnancy, but at that time, I wasn't even focused on being healthy, or losing the weight.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a thought for me, because I figured, oh, I'm still young, I have time, and I still had some energy. But now that I
Mm-hmm.
have this 3-year-old who's very, very active, and now I have, a newborn, I
Mm-hmm.
found that I was just tired all the time. Not just tired, but like my energy level was really low, and I was
Mm-hmm.
feeling sluggish, and I don't want to feel that way. Like, I need to be at my best for my daughters, and I want to be healthy. I want to be energetic. So I have a few friends who have been doing the Beachbody program, and
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, I see all these fad diets and these
Right.
get slim quick things. People lose this tremendous amount of weight fast, but then they end up
Mm-hmm.
gaining it back, and they're not doing it the healthy way. And I reached out to one of my friends, who was also a coach. There's actually two of my friends who are coaches who have been
Mm-hmm.
working the program for quite some time with phenomenal results.
Okay.
And one of my friends, he lost over 130 pounds on this program. And I'm one of those
Mm-hmm.
people, I have to see it to believe it. So I'm not just going to
Right.
enroll myself in something without seeing that it's actually worked for people that I know, because people can
Mm-hmm.
Photoshop pictures. One picture you can see they're 300-400 pounds. The next picture,
Mm-hmm.
they're 120, and it's photoshopped. You never can
Mm-hmm.
tell, with social media and all of these apps that they have. But
Right.
I know these people personally, and I was like, wow, I want to do what you're doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
I got involved. And what I love about the Beachbody program is that not only do you lose weight the healthy way, but it really focuses on creating new habits. So they teach you how to portion out your meals. They teach you about healthy carbs. I love carbs, and I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
just, give up on them, but they tell you which foods are healthy for you to eat. And so I've kind of found the things that I enjoy that are healthy, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing this since December, and we're only
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of February. And since then I've lost over 20 pounds. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
doing
That's
anything
great.
drastic. It's just
Right.
moderating the amounts of food that I eat, the kinds of food that I eat. I've incorporated a lot more fruits and vegetables, into my meals. I've
Mm-hmm.
also replaced one of my meals with a meal replacement shake, which is the Shakeology. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
that works wonders because I have such a bad sweet tooth. I love chocolate cake. I love cookies. I love all the sweet things. But the chocolate Shakeology really
Mm-hmm.
satisfies my craving for the sweets and for the candy. So whenever I'm craving those things, I just whip up, a shake and I drink it. And not only does it curb my cravings, but it also fills me. So I'm not reaching for more food. It kind of,
Mm-hmm.
holds me over. And then I incorporate daily 25-minute exercises. I'm super busy. I have 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a full-time career woman. I have my woman organization, that I
Mm-hmm.
deal with, and I'm also a writer. So my time,
Right.
every minute of my day is accounted for, basically. But the
Mhm. And that's
25.
a lot of people, that we know. I mean, like, for me, and I'm a writer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're freelancing, when you have multiple children, when you have, multiple hobbies and interests, you definitely have to find something that works for your lifestyle. You
Yes.
talk about, finding something that incorporated a fitness plan and really taught you how to eat. And for me, I always talk about how you have to find something that's going to fit into your lifestyle and really fit your personality. And for
Yes.
me, that was, I started off and, I might have had, I mean, everyone has their separate goals. I might have had a little bit further, than
Right.
some people to go. But I had, I really had gotten up to, and I've always been very petite. So for
Right.
me, my regular weight was about 120, 125, and I'm only 5'4". So
Right.
I got up to 187 with my last pregnancy, had a 5-pound baby, barely lost any weight. So
Right.
so
Right.
I ended up finding out, and it was the same thing. It was, I had no energy. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started incorporating just, a green smoothie
Right.
just for breakfast. And I found out it gave me so much energy. And I just so happened to be on Facebook and found a Facebook group for the 10-day green smoothie cleanse.
Right.
So I ended up getting the book that was written by J.J. Smith about the 10-day green smoothie cleanse. And
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, it really, like, I'm a mono eater. I can eat the same thing every day for a year and
Right.
be fine. You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
what really appealed to me was the fact that people were receiving results and they didn't have to exercise.
Right.
So, sometimes you have to like retrain your brain. It's like a baby step.
Yeah.
You
It
know what I
is.
mean? They're like, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to start off doing this, and this, the next week and, be in it and let's go. So for me, it was like, okay, I can see some results, without even exercising. But then I found that realistically on most of these plans, when you're seeing these before and afters and you're seeing these great results, they are people that are also incorporating
Right.
exercise.
Right.
So I did start doing the little increments of even just
Mm-hmm.
like 10 minutes a
Right.
day and noticing the results alongside the cleanse. So let me back this up for just a moment because you talked about, eating the rice and the beans and
Right.
that type of thing. So would you consider yourself to have had a fit pregnancy? Because I know they always give us these general guidelines about not gaining too much weight while we're
Right.
pregnant.
I think for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, I did have a fit pregnancy. Before
Mm-hmm.
I got pregnant, I was maybe 140. And then at the end of my pregnancy, I was 167. So I didn't really gain, I
Mm-hmm.
gained within that average
Okay,
that you
so
want
that's yeah.
to gain. And I didn't even see the weight gain. Everyone would tell me, oh, you haven't really gained much weight. You're just all belly, and with this
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy it was, but my last pregnancy, I gained a tremendous amount of weight. It was all over my body. It was all over my
Mm-hmm.
face. Um, and once I had the baby, that pregnancy weight, I didn't drop it as quickly because I just wasn't focused, on doing that. It kind of just settled in, then I got
Mm-hmm.
pregnant, the second time. But this time around, I said, you know what? I don't want the same thing to happen this time that happened the last time. I got lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be that way. I didn't feel good physically about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, because like you, I've always been so petite that even when I was, that at 140 before the pregnant, I was not used to having all that weight, on my
Mm-hmm.
body. For some people, they would love to be that weight.
Right.
depending on what, where they're at
Height
right
and
now.
everything. Yeah.
But for me, I've always been, pretty small, thin, slim, woman. So it didn't feel, I didn't feel like myself. And
Mm-hmm.
this time around, I said, before I let this weight settle in, I'm going to take action, and I made a commitment to myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to start exercising, and I've stuck with it. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
great. I feel great about myself. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm well on
Mm-hmm.
my way. I have 4 more pounds to lose to reach my goal weight of 130, and I'm gonna be super
Congratulations.
happy.
Uh-huh. I know how that feels. And you come so far already. Did you feel like you had, and just to be clear and just to tell our viewers out there, they do recommend that you avoid, try not to really incorporate any new exercise routines until you are 6 weeks, 6 weeks
Yes.
after birth.
Yep.
And then even then, up until 8 weeks after birth, they do recommend that you avoid, any running, jogging, things where you're really
Right.
doing some, extreme cardio and things like that. So just to put that out there. So you went to the doctor after 6 weeks, but you already started really working on it at 4 weeks. Did you
Right.
get any type of resistance from, your family or your partner or anybody saying,
You know,
you're doing a little bit too much?
um, well, no, I didn't get any resistance, and
Mhm.
I was very aware. You have to listen to your body. You
Mhm.
don't push yourself more than you can physically go. Even if you believe, I mean, until you're cleared by a doctor, definitely don't push yourself, because once you're back to your healthy self, you want to kind of push
Mhm.
yourself, you want to test your limits. But until you've been cleared, if you're doing something that doesn't feel comfortable and your body is saying, wait a minute, I don't like this, you need to stop.
Mhm.
You have to learn to pay attention to what your body is telling you, because you don't want to cause more harm. You don't want to do more harm than good, because then you're going to defeat the purpose of trying to be healthier and feel better about yourself.
Right. And I do want to point out, and I've only had vaginal births, so there might be different guidelines for any women that
Right.
have
Yeah.
had
So have I.
C-sections
Right.
and things like that. But it's always really important just to consult, your doctor. So, and were you a mom? Are you a mom that's breastfeeding? Is that something that's helped you?
No,
Not breastfeeding? Okay.
I'm not breastfeeding. I tried. It didn't
Mhm.
work for me. So
Mhm.
no, I'm not breastfeeding at the moment.
Okay. They always say that that's something I never, I tried with my first baby and I got really, really sick after my first pregnancy. So
Right.
that probably helped my weight loss. But I got really sick after that and I wasn't able to breastfeed. So I've never done that as well. But that is something that they always say that's going to give you a little bit of a boost as well if you're breastfeeding
Right.
after
Yeah. Yeah.
after pregnancy. You being a coach now, do you happen to have any clients or anybody that's reached out to you that's kind of in a similar position? They've had a recent baby and they've had other problems, or they might have had a C-section
Well,
and,
yeah.
can't really do the same things?
No, as of right now, no. I don't have any new mothers, but I do have women
Mm-hmm.
who are mothers who do want
Right.
to get fit, because they have kids or young kids, and they want to get their energy back. They want to feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, in their skin. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, as mothers, we tend to let ourselves go, but not because we want to, but it's just because we're so busy, we're so focused on taking care of our children, that
Mm-hmm.
our own well-being kind of falls to the wayside, and we say, well, you know what, we'll deal with ourselves later. We got to take care of our families, we got to take care of our children, and then it
Mm-hmm.
isn't until maybe a couple of years afterward that maybe our kids are a little bit older now, they're in preschool and daycare, and we're getting
Mm-hmm.
back some of our own time, that we start to kind of reprioritize ourselves and our goals, and say, okay, well, now it's time to focus on myself. So I'm getting a lot of those types of moms, and which is
Mm-hmm.
okay. And what I try to stress to, all women is, you have to make time for yourself. Even if it's 20
Definitely.
minutes, 20 minutes a day, you have to take that time, because if not, you're going to go crazy. You're going to go insane, and you can't give
Mm-hmm.
so much of yourself to everyone else and then leave yourself depleted, because then,
Mm-hmm.
it leads to depression, it leads to low self-esteem, like all other
Oh,
types
yeah.
of issues can develop from that. And you'd be surprised how just taking a small amount of time for yourself. And then, whether it's to read, maybe it's just to take, a hot bath, a bubble bath, and just sit in the tub, do nothing but just sit there, maybe it'll be that you take those 20 minutes and you exercise, and then afterwards, you feel better about yourself. Whatever it is, as you mentioned, you have to do what works for you. Like, I'm not a gym person. I've never been a gym person. And I've joined gyms every single year since me and my husband have been together. And this is 1998. And I never go to the gym. That membership just sits there because realistically for me, I don't have the time required to drive to a gym, to then wait to use the machines, because usually when you get there, all the machines, are being used. So you have to wait your turn. Then the time
it really depends. I'm a new gym rat because I started running last spring, so it's just a little bit too cold in my area, but I feel like I have to get in my runs, you know what I'm saying, to maintain that. And I actually want to do a half marathon this year. So it really depends. It's just like anything else. You have to find something that's going to work for you.
Right.
But certainly, especially for anybody that's just starting their exercise journey, and I talked about really just starting, exercising like 10 minutes a day. Go on YouTube, go on Hulu, all of these things have these free,
even on Facebook,
programs that you can find.
You can search for, workout videos on Facebook, and you can see real people doing real exercises, and you just kind of follow along until you improve your form and your technique, and you can do more.
Definitely. You definitely have to start where you are. And as you talked about, when you start making some type of improvements and you start getting those immediate results where you're like, okay, I have a little bit more energy, that's when you have a little bit more energy to invest into yourself. Because if you don't have the energy at the end of the day, you are certainly not going to want to read or take a bath.
You're right. You are
going to want to go to sleep, and then you're going to continue that cycle, and it's not going to get any better for you. So we talked about, I started off with a program that really just, a 10-day green smoothie cleanse. I loved it because I didn't have to think anything of it.
Right.
But as I lost the weight, and it's something that was really effective for me, it's not something I can continue unless I want to be 0 pounds.
Right.
So I have had to incorporate, other things and start learning about, portion control and things of that nature. And that's really something that we have not, been taught just as a culture.
No,
we go into these restaurants, everything is oversized, and there's not that many people that are going to sit there and say, okay, I should really be eating half of this plate and maybe taking the rest of it home. And we are so uneducated about what's in food, how to read labels, what is an actual serving, I mean, if you knew that absolutely. If I'm going to sit there and open this bag of chips and serving is, is all these calories for 4 chips, maybe you would make better choices. So tell us about that educational process for you.
Well, I'm still learning that. But, with the program that I'm on, because they provide color-coded containers, I've started to already learn how much of each type of food I can realistically eat and still be on the healthy side, where I'm not overindulging, where I'm not eating too much. And as you mentioned, when I do go out now to eat at restaurants, I am not eating the entire plate. I am only eating half. Sometimes, not too long ago, I went out with my sister and we ordered 1 plate for the 2 of us, and we shared it. And to me it was surprising because eating that half a plate, I was full.
Yeah.
But had I had just a plate for myself, I would have eaten the entire plate because I don't like to leave food. We've been so conditioned to, cleaning our plates that we will continue eating even if we're full.
Right. Yeah.
So it's you just have to continuously educate yourself, and it's a learning process, and take it 1 day at a time. You're not going to learn everything, in 1 day, and you could just do your best, and there's some days when I really, really struggle, when I'm craving chocolate cake and my Shakeology is not going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and on those days, I allow myself, to have a sliver of chocolate cake. So it's not, the big slice that I would normally, cut for myself. I get a little
Mm-hmm.
slice to satisfy the craving. And then once I eat it, I'm done. And I don't even think about it anymore. I might have another craving for that maybe a month or two, down the line. So it's
Right.
about just being conscious,
Mm-hmm.
and making conscious decisions, when you're eating. It's actually thinking about what you're putting into your body and how much you're putting
Mm-hmm.
into it.
I really just consider, and I call it just conscious eating.
Right.
You know, it's really, and you, even before you get to a restaurant, I'm in the habit now of just pulling up their menus, seeing what they have in advance. There are places I used to go, like I stopped going to IHOP.
Right.
Now, and I didn't know what some of their healthy choices are. So now I can go into IHOP, I can get what they call a turkey Benny,
Right.
where they have just some lean turkey, they have a half avocado slice,
Right.
they have some tomato slice, and I'm fine. You don't have to completely deprive yourself and become antisocial to
Right.
make these changes in your life.
And you
You
don't want to
know.
do that because then you become angry and bitter and it defeats the purpose of, being healthy and happy. So,
Mhm.
you have to just make sure you're making smart choices, and
Mhm.
reward yourself. When you want something that you used to eat, go ahead, and have that, whatever that thing is, but just don't overdo it. There's a
Mhm.
saying that I like to that I keep in the back of my head, and I don't remember where I heard this from, but it's very true. One salad that you eat is not going to make you healthy. The same way as,
Mhm.
as if one slice of chocolate cake, if you have it once in a while, is not going to make you unhealthy. So you just have to
Yeah.
be conscious and don't deprive yourself. But if you're eating unhealthy foods every single day, then of course you're not going to feel healthy. You're going to develop,
Mhm.
tons of, illnesses, and you're not going to be your best self, so just
Absolutely not. Yeah. And you have to really, we have to get to a place where we're more realistic. We see a lot of things in the media, and there's so many women that compare themselves to these
right,
celebrities that they see. Oh, they just had a baby 3 weeks ago, and now they're back to size 2. And,
right,
what's wrong with me? That
right.
I can't, that I have no control, even when they are trying to do the work, because there's so many things. I mean, you could eat nothing but fruit and be eating the wrong fruits and be,
Exactly.
eating a ton of sugar
Yes.
and not getting any results,
Right.
and then, like we said, for best results, you really have to have some level of, exercise along with eating a clean diet. So, it can be a struggle until you really start to educate yourself. And what do you think about, the perception of motherhood and childbirth and the way that, women are supposed to, quote unquote, snap back after birth that you see kind of like portrayed in the media?
I think the media is the devil, honestly.
Mm.
Because you have to keep in mind these celebrities, they have luxuries that the average person just doesn't have. So they have nannies to take care of their
Mm-hmm.
kids and they can get their 7, 8 hours, sleep. They have
Right.
chefs that can come in, and cook them an array of, healthy foods and they can pick and choose, what they want. They can
Mm-hmm.
have personal trainers come into their homes, and tell them exactly what they have to do and how much of that they have to do a day, to get the optimum results. The average woman doesn't have that luxury. So I say don't look to these people as your inspirations because you're not that you can never get to where they are, but you're not going to get there as quickly as they are because it's just unrealistic, for the
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day mom who is tackling, a toddler, a newborn, shuffling kids back and forth to school and to activities and, having to cook dinner, for the family and all these other things that we're responsible for doing on our own. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
a team of people helping us. We're our own team. So you have to
Right.
be realistic. And if you want to be inspired and you want to be motivated, look to the average woman who is doing what you want to do and is succeeding at it, and then model yourself somewhat along to what they're doing, and then with modifications to fit your own personal style and your schedule. And then that's the way you'll start to see real results, and the results that are going to work best for you, that are realistic, because you want to develop a routine that works for you. You don't want to try to do something that's totally out of your league, and then you can't stick to it, and then you feel like a failure. So
Right. Well, it's not. It's so wonderful because we have all these mediums. There are people that are on Periscope every day talking about what works for them. There are people that are, on Facebook. You can find these Facebook groups and all of these resources that we have online where we can go in and actually even, anytime we go to order a program or order a book, we can just look at those little reviews that say, you know what? Right. I did this for 5 months and I dropped 1 pound. Don't do it, Right. So we have a wealth of information, that's available to us that, people just didn't have before. So I always tell people, certainly, do the research and think about what's going to be realistic for you, and also stay really flexible because, they can look at you and they may not get the same results,
Right.
And there are people that, have come up to me and said, well, I tried the green smoothie cleanse. I didn't drop 1 pound. And I go, really? That's really unusual. I said, are you drinking, are you drinking at least, 64 ounces of water? Are you doing this? They're like, no, well, no.
The water is okay, well. Water is so important.
Yeah,
losing weight. And people don't realize that you really have to hydrate your body so that you can get the best optimal results, when it comes to the weight loss. And the water makes you feel better. And not only that, it makes your skin look better, and it does a lot more than just cleanse your thirst, so yeah,
definitely. Well, it makes you feel better, and that is also something that I found for me. If you're dehydrated, you're not going to have the same energy level, and you're not going to have the same performance level if you're trying to get into any type of regular exercise regimen. You're not going to get, not going to be able to do it. So we were asked a question to address how women can get back on path if they veered off a healthy path, not necessarily just, had a baby and had all of this extra weight, but obviously, it does take stamina. Well, it does take, just a commitment. You have to make a commitment to yourself. Right. But, we all, I think, have our moments. Right. Or we might, like I'm the type of person, if I'm going on vacation, if I'm in South Beach, I'm going to have some libations and I'm going to eat at the, at the nice restaurants, and I'm not going to say, let me not, because that's my time to kind of splurge, and I know, okay, well, there are things that I kind of know how to regroup. So, I have the tools that it takes, and I say, get the tools that it takes to say, okay, let me backtrack a little bit and see how I can reset and get back, on course. So, of course, when you have clients, you have those issues that come up. So how do you address that and approach that with your clients?
So I like to say that I give the analogy of a person who may be, an alcoholic, or someone who's trying to wean themselves off of drugs, right? Though trying to change those bad habits and those patterns are so hard, which is why, for alcoholics, especially, they partner you with what they call a sponsor. This is the person that you kind of reach out to right when you're struggling and when you feel like, grabbing, a drink. The same goes for your health and for fitness. It's all about changing your mindset, right? So you have to create new habits, and there's going to be times when you're going to veer off that path, but you need to have someone, kind of say to you, that try to give you that push and say, you know what, don't grab that hamburger, or don't do this, or you know what, it's okay that maybe you fell off a little bit, but now it's time to regroup. You have to get back on track. And one of the things that really works well for the program that I'm doing is that we have what we call a fitness group. So it's a group of women. We have a private Facebook group, and so we're constantly on there, and we're constantly posting our workouts, our meals, the days where we struggle, the days where we may, miss a workout. And we this group of women that are kind of chiming in, and they're being that inspiration, for us. And there's
Okay, let me do this. Let me have you. Okay, can you say something now?
Yeah, now I don't even see you.
Okay,
I don't see
all right, we have you back.
No.
You were frozen. You were cutting in and out for just a moment.
Okay, that's fine. I can hear
you. Oh, you
so
don't see me? Okay, I can see you just fine. Okay, the viewer said you lost connection for a second, but yeah, you're back. Okay. So we lost just the little end part of what you were saying, but accountability is important. And for me, even from the coach side, so when you're talking about going on there and showing people what you're doing, because as you said, there's a million people online right now, and some of them are not very authentic,
right.
And so you don't really know, okay, was this their lifestyle? Is this something that they're trying to sell to me and make money from? So that's another reason why I go on and I talk about, I want to show people my lifestyle because this is actually true. This is happening to me. This is what I'm doing. And I wouldn't ever tell somebody to do, what I'm not doing. So you're talking about having a group, having that level of support, and really an important reason why. People always say, well, why, if I can just order a video or order a book, why do I need you?
Order the book and they never open it. And it just sits there collecting dust and they never use it. But when you have a group and you have a team and you have a coach, someone who is checking in on you daily, making sure that you're eating the right meals, making sure that you're sticking to your workouts, it becomes a lot harder to just not follow through. And I'm to the point, like, I really just want to work with people who are truly committed, because I can't make someone work out. I can provide them with all the tools necessary and give them all the healthy recipes. But if they don't follow through, there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, all I can do is encourage them, motivate them, inspire them, but they really have to do the hard work. And it is hard. It is hard trying to transform your body, trying to transform, the way that you eat. But once you change those habits, it becomes easier. And then you think about, you're like, you know what, this really isn't that hard, because then it becomes a lifestyle and it just becomes a part of your day like anything else. Yes.
Right. And you are really talking about building habits. And one thing we haven't talked about is the fact that, once you, like for me, I, took it upon myself because I started learning. I knew I wanted to do a half marathon this year. So last year for me was really about not only losing weight, it was really about just changing my health because, I talk about on my website that I've had, a number of little small issues, but they were becoming chronic issues. So I was having some issues with digestion. I wasn't feeling well, and that was another part of it. It wasn't just fitting back into a certain pair of jeans, which sometimes, people emphasize, but you have to understand that a lot of people have overall goals even if they're not sharing, some of their private issues. So for me, in learning about having to or being able to physically run a half marathon, with any type of a decent time. I'm very competitive. They
Right.
say you should be running up to, at least 10 miles a week or more. So I started, just really preparing my body, and I was
Right.
it, except for days when I physically couldn't make it in the gym because we were snowed in, like we had a snowstorm in the DC area. So I was in the
Right.
gym every day just running, but this is like 20 minutes, 20 minutes a day, just consistently. And I'm telling you,
Right.
and you probably find this as well. We're talking about the struggle, but once
Yes.
you get
You're
past a
absolutely
certain
right.
point, you will
Yeah.
not feel right if you don't get up and do, what you're accustomed to doing. It's just like anything
Yeah.
else. It's just like if you have a
Yes.
glass of wine
And I
every night
find
for the
that
past 3
the better
years,
you feel,
you're
the
going to
better you
want
start
a glass of
feeling,
wine
the
at
better
night.
results you start seeing, the more addicted you really become, to the entire process. And then eventually what happens is you feel like you let yourself down. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know at least personally for me, that's how
Mm-hmm.
I feel. Like there are days, like last week, my daughter was
Yeah.
sick. She was home all week, so I wasn't getting my workouts in every single day like I wanted to. And at the end of each
Mm-hmm.
day, I was like, I gotta get out of this slump. And then once she started
Mm-hmm.
feeling better, I said, okay, I don't have to devote so much time to taking care of her and babying her and nurturing her. I'm gonna start working out. And then this week, I went full force. And I've been doing double workouts a day. And it's only because I feel like I owe it to myself. To that. No one's forcing me, no one's pressuring me. But
Mm-hmm.
I do it for myself because it makes me feel good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's important. And there's really nothing. They always say you have to
Right.
find things that are going to, make you feel good, that are fun for you.
Right.
Don't get involved in something that's going to be, just you dread going. You dread getting started. You dread, starting, that part of your day. And, when you talked about the reason why people, hire coaches, and it is because we are providing, that level of support. We're providing,
Right.
and there's a lot of people that just, and I say it all the time, people don't like to read. Sometimes I don't even like to read, and I'm a
Yes.
writer. And you're supposed
You have to read. Yes.
and I'm sure you hear it all the time. They always say to be a great writer, you need to read. And it's just like, oh, there's so much going on, and and so, but people will not. And even that,
Yes.
and you miss a lot of things, maybe even the first time
Right.
around, because it can be overwhelming in the beginning. So you have somebody to clarify certain things and say, oh, okay, well, if this
Yes.
isn't working for you, try this. Because again, as I stated earlier, you really have to be flexible, you know. So, do you have any situations where you have clients that are just not? I don't want to say they're not coachable,
I haven't
but you
encountered
just have
that
figured out this is
specific
just not a match for
situation
them for
yet.
whatever
What I have
reason.
encountered is I've been working with this young woman who just kind of really started the
Mhm.
program, and then something happened in her personal life that has kind of thrown her off track a bit. And so, I get that she
Mhm.
has other priorities at the time. And I kind of said, okay, I let her go for, maybe a week or so to kind of get her bearings back. And then I reached out to her again. And I said, well, I know you're going through this, but have you completely given up on your
Mhm.
health and fitness goals? I said, because no matter what you're going through in life, you still want to be healthy. You still want, to live your
Mhm.
best self physically. So what is it going to take to kind of get you back on track? Maybe you can't work out every single day,
Mhm.
and that's fine. But you know what? Maybe you can still maintain the healthy eating. Try, don't revert back to the types of foods you used to eat, but, still control your portions, still be cognizant of
Mhm.
what you're putting in your mouth. And then when you can exercise, then incorporate that, into your routine. So that's what I'm dealing with
Mhm.
now. So she says that she's gonna try to get back on track, and and I'm there to support her when she does, because I mean it really makes me feel good when people meet
Mhm.
their health and fitness goals. When I see my clients,
Mhm.
are checking in with me every week and they're telling me, oh, I lost 2 pounds, or I lost this amount of inches, or I feel healthier, I feel more energized. It makes me feel good because now I know that, I've helped them to achieve some of their own goals.
And it really does come down to, you're talking about
Right.
goals. It's not always I'm going to lose, this
Yes.
mass amount of weight. You do have to start off with small, achievable goals. And I know for me in the beginning, it was a struggle, to drink, a certain amount of water a day. I just felt
Yes.
like, what? I don't
It
feel
is. It is.
dehydrated and I'm tired of running to the bathroom, all the time. I mean, it is an adjustment for your body. So everything that you're doing, and like you're talking about with your experience with this client, it's so tempting to kind of like, to just revert back and give it all up when you're
Right.
bogged down by, things that are going on in your life, or you're having any type of, emotional upheaval. But really, even if you can just do one thing, because this isn't rocket science.
Yep.
They've been telling us the same things for
Yeah.
years. They're
Same
always
thing.
saying,
Yes.
what does it take? The right
It
amount of
hasn't.
sleep,
The only thing that changes
water, exercise,
is
and eating
the
right. It
names I
hasn't
think that they give to
changed.
different programs, right? Because when you think about it, in essence,
Mm-hmm.
it is really all the same thing. It just takes
Mm-hmm.
a level of commitment, and it's like, how committed are you? And you're only gonna
Mm-hmm.
get, the results from the amount of dedication and
Mm-hmm.
commitment you put into whatever program you're doing. If you're not committed, you're not gonna see any results.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you have to, and going back to when we talked about finding something that's going to work for you, even find things that are going to find ways to achieve your goals that fit your
Right.
personality. For me, I'm very self-motivated. And I love having little checklists, little
Right.
goals. So for me to say, okay, like last year I ran a 5K and that's how I got back into running. So, I had to have these clear set, goals. Like, I don't want to be dying, out there looking crazy. So this is what I want to do for myself. And every year, I've had to, I'll set something like that. So, but for somebody else, it
Right.
could just be, they might just want to be in a different social circle. They might want to be around people
Right.
that are healthier and they need that social component. So
Right.
they might
I mean,
need
I
to
know
join,
someone now who just
a Facebook
recently
group to make it something that's
started
successful
taking
and
dance
works for them.
lessons, and they joined for the social component of it, but one of the benefits that they've started to see
Mm-hmm.
is that it's lowered their cholesterol. They're
Mm-hmm.
starting to lose weight, and so they're gaining all these other benefits that they didn't even realize when they first started. So you have to find something that you also enjoy doing. So maybe you're not into the traditional type of exercise. So maybe you like dancing. Go join a dance class, once or twice a week, and that can be your form of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're dancing, you're still burning calories. So it's about finding what works for you and what's going to keep you motivated.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. But what would some top tips be, from you to some new mothers or mothers that have, their children are growing up and they just kind of, like you said, put themselves on the back burners and they want to get back into shape, whether it's
Right.
meeting a certain, pre-baby weight or not, because all of us, pregnancy changes your
Right.
bodies in such different ways. I didn't used to have hips. I have hips now. I'm not going to be the same
I
shape.
think that the
So
first
what
thing
would
I
some of
would
your
I
quick
would tell
tips be for
any
moms
person,
that
not
want to
even a
get
new
back to
mom,
being them?
you have to know yourself. And so what I mean is, a person like me, like I said, I don't do gyms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very self-motivated, so I can follow a workout program at home and stick to it. There's some people, like my sister,
Mm-hmm.
for example, who's
Mm-hmm.
not as focused. So she needs to go to a gym. She has a personal trainer because she has to be pushed.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's not pushed, she won't do it. So before deciding on the type of program you're going to
Mm-hmm.
start, you have to identify how
Mm-hmm.
realistic that's going to be for you. because you want to do something that you're going to stick with. So if you're not a gym person and you know that you're not going to follow through with a gym, then don't go and get a gym membership.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a waste of money, and you're never going to follow through with that. Also,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you when you start eating healthier, don't try to go cold turkey with everything, because it's impossible to do that. Because what's going to happen is, you know, you're going to probably follow through for a week or two, and you're going to find that it's very difficult, and then you're going to just revert back, you know, to that old comfort food. So try to eliminate, you know, one food out of your diet like a week. You know, take it easy, small baby steps. You know, and until you've started eliminated that healthy food and you incorporate something healthier, you know, and you start changing the way you eat. You know, that has to be little by little, because, you know, we don't start eating unhealthy. We've been that way our entire lives, right? We've been raised that way. Our minds have been programmed, you know, to do that. So you have to reprogram your mind. Really, that's what it is. Everything is mental. And once you conquer your mind, everything else follows. You know, and also cut out any sugary drinks. That's the easiest way to start dropping pounds quickly. So get rid of the soda, juices. You know, I know water is hard for people to, you know, if you're not used to drinking water, it's hard to just only drink water. But, you know, buy yourself flavored water. Start drinking tea. Yeah, you know, and start incorporating water in any way that you can. But water is really
some limes
important.
in
Cut
it.
out those sugary drinks, and that right there is going to kind of, you know, get you on the right path. You know, so those are some quick tips, you know, for people who are thinking, you know, how can I start eating healthier?
Right. Those are some great tips. I would add to that that, you know, there's some things that you need to, like I said, keep it realistic. If it looks too easy, then it is. If you're seeing these results, you need to understand, even if they're not telling you they're running 3 miles a day along with this diet, they probably are, you know, because normal people just drop a pound or more a day. And that's not even always healthy. It might be some type of calorie deprivation or something that's just not going to work for you, especially if you have an active lifestyle. And I would also say that there is nothing, you know, that's outside your realm, no matter what, you know, your time is, how much time you have to devote, what your income is, what your fitness level is. You can find something that can fit what you're looking for. And so do the research, you know, and also, and you talked about, you know, your dislike for the gym. And for me, you know, this is probably my 4th, you know, gym membership, maybe more. This is the first one I've used. So I definitely was the type of person that would get these gym memberships. But what I started doing was, the last time that I did not renew the membership because I did not use it, I said, you know, this money is not going to continue to waste money. So you'd be hard pressed not to find a gym in your area, and probably multiple gyms in your areas that don't give at least a week. Some of them give up to 2-week trials. So if you're really serious about it and you want to give it a go, you know, before you put in money that, you know, is going to be a struggle for you to invest, or you just don't, or you think that you might waste it, take advantage of your free resources. And that also extends to finding people that are experts online and people that can give you an indication of what program, you know, might be best for you. But what always worked for me was to set these small achievable goals, even when it comes to how much, you know, weight I wanted to lose, and also reward myself, you know. So if I was 10 pounds down, then that would be something that, you know, I would celebrate. And not be going, oh, but, you know, I really wanted to lose 20 pounds. So you really have to start being kind to yourself as well, and understand that it is a process, you know.
Healthy weight loss.
So those are some tips that I would add in there as well.
So if you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week,
go ahead.
You're being successful in your weight loss. You know, don't think that you have to lose, you know, 5, 6, 7 pounds all at once to be successful. If you're eating right and you're exercising, or you're incorporating some type of active activity into your daily, your day. If you're losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, then you are succeeding, in eating healthy and being healthy. So just keep that in mind.
And it's so interesting because, and I've covered on this show, we had a whole episode about the ABC show, My Diet is Better Than Yours. And, and I really thought, oh, okay, well, this was kind of like, the opposite of The Biggest Loser. It seemed a lot more positive. And then, you get down to, I think it was like the second to last episode or the last episode, and they, reveal that, one of them's talking about, and this is a big guy, and he's talking about, eating 800 calories a day.
Right.
And doing all this extensive exercise. And it's like, that's why you're losing 7 pounds a week. And that's not healthy and that's not sustainable. So, like you said, and you emphasize that if you are, if you're losing 1 pound a week, and it's this gradual process, but it's consistent, and you're feeling better, and that is something to be proud of, and just know that you're continuing to make that progress.
Next,
so Nancy, what's next for you, and how can viewers find you online?
Writing. I'm working with an elementary school group of kids and helping them publish a book. It's something that I've been doing for the past 3 years. I'll be starting that in a couple of weeks. I'm also getting ready. I'm in the midst of planning the 2-year anniversary celebration of the Fierce Woman. So it's a brunch. Well, the Fierce Woman is an organization that I created.
Tell us a little bit about your organization.
Is really to encourage, empower, and kind of inspire women to discover the powers that they have within themselves to be their best self. Whatever that is, to follow their dreams, and to know that whatever they want to achieve, they can achieve. They have everything within them, to do that. So we celebrate women, all ages, all races. And I do a number of events throughout the year that serve as opportunities for women to come together and meet each other and network and help support each other in their entrepreneurial endeavors. And what I mean by that is I have women who, who have baking businesses, or who have event planning businesses. And by bringing them together, they expand their networks. And so I've had people, who have met in my events, that they hire each other for these different, different purposes. And, my thing is, we have to support each other if we want to succeed. And so I always encourage, unity amongst women. And so that's really what my organization revolves around. And also instilling those same things into our younger generation of women. I feel that if we get them when they're younger, they won't have all of these struggles and problems that we see, in today's day and age, with the cattiness among women and the competitiveness that we see. So. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
that's a hopefully. Right. It really starts at home. But those are all wonderful objectives. We have one question. How important and how hard is it to incorporate family life into your coaching program, funny, Nancy? Is that something that you integrate into your coaching in terms of getting the whole family involved?
And not that she's doing the exercises, right, but she engages with me, and and so she gets excited about it. And I do I record myself when I'm doing my workouts, and you'll see her right next to me, doing jumping jacks or doing burpees, which I hate burpees, but she's so small, she can get on that floor and jump back up with no problem. And I find when there's times when I'm struggling to do my workouts and I'm like, oh, I can't do this, she tells me, no, mommy, you can do it, mommy, just try. And so she pushes me and she motivates me. And my husband, he doesn't exercise, but the food portion of it, he's into. So the whole family is eating healthier, and he's cut out a lot of the unhealthy foods that he used to eat as a result of, my healthy eating. So it really has become, a family lifestyle. And, as the mother, as the
Mm-hmm.
matriarch, I'm really the one that's setting the example for my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's wonderful, and I know, and it's been the
Yes.
same thing
Yes.
in my household, because a lot of times when we gain the weight, our partner gains the weight as well, when we're pregnant. So it kind of, if you're fortunate and you have a partner that has, goals that are aligned with
Right.
yours, they will want to start to get in shape. And even if it takes them seeing your results, to get motivated and understanding how important it is to you. So I've had a similar experience. So I'd like to just invite any of the viewers, if you have any final questions, as far as if you have any final questions, go ahead and ask them now. You can always find me online at healthyblissfulmom.com is the website. I am on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook at Healthy Blissful. I do the show every Thursday night. Try and stay consistent with it at 8 p.m. and we'll be having different topics, and you're welcome to shoot me a message if you have a topic that you want to see. But I really want to thank you for being here. Nancy, how can they find out how
Okay.
to
Well, the
reach
thing
you
is,
online if they want to
you can
hire you
find I'm
as
on
a coach
Instagram and on
for the
Twitter at
Beachbody?
I am Nancy
To start
Ruffin.
there.
I'm on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, Nancy Ruffin. You can also visit my website, www.nancyarroyoruffin.com. And if you want to join my fitness group, you get me free as a coach. However, there is a minimal cost, to get into the program, which requires you to purchase the Shakeology, which is a 30-month supply, and a workout program. But after the 30 days, there's a money back guarantee. So if you don't see any results, or if you're just not happy with it, you can send it back and they refund your money. So it's really a win-win type of situation. You become a part of my fitness group, and you get me as your coach. And I'm 100% dedicated to your health and fitness goals, because your success is my success. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for having me. This was so much
Wonderful.
fun.
I have enjoyed having you as a guest. Thank you so much for joining us this
Likewise,
week.
likewise. We're connected on all
I look
social
forward
media,
to
so
kind of
it'll
following your
be great
work
to
as
see
fellow
our
writers and
progress.
seeing yes,
Good night.
definitely. And so, thank you all for joining us, and have a wonderful evening. Good night.